All right, so I'll be talking, I'm not going to be talking about black holes. I'm an astrophysicist. I work on black holes, gravitational waves. You've already heard some about black holes. They're amazing. They're, by far the coolest objects in the universe. They actually are the coolest objects in the universe. They're the simplest objects in the universe. They're the most profound objects. I would argue they incorporate gravity, quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, and the last 10 years there's just been an explosion of data and all these discoveries. It's incredibly exciting. I'm not going to talk about any of that. I'm instead, maybe there may not be slides, I'm going to talk about existential risk. I think I'm getting a message. Maybe I should stay with the black holes. So next slide. Like, my button is not working. Okay, I'm going to talk about existential risk. I'm going to talk about two aspects of it. One is the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, which is an organization founded actually at UChicago by Manhattan Project scientists who were completely freaked out by what they had done and worried about what it implied for the future of civilization. And so they created this organization. Should I hit the button or do you? Okay. Fine. So they created an organization which is called the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, and this is just a fundraising letter. I think it's very instructive. It's a fundraising letter from Einstein, and he's saying, please, please give us money because we're worried because of all these things. And the things were basically, right now, at the time this was written, only the US had nuclear weapons, but we don't have a monopoly on that technology. There'll be H-bombs, like the bombs will get much more powerful. There'll be many more. There'll be a Cold War, and if there's a nuclear exchange, it's the end of civilization. This is incredibly early. And the fact that even very early, before any of this happened, scientists were freaked out and trying to warn the world, hey, this technology, it's dangerous, be careful. Like, let's really think about this stuff, I think is instructive. A lot of these things happened, not yet World War III, but, it's a dangerous time. Some scientists in AI communities, in the climate community, there are a lot of scientific groups, people that study pandemics are freaked out, we should probably maybe at least pay attention. Okay, next slide. So we have the Doomsday Clock. So this is supposed to symbolize how close we are to midnight. I can talk a lot about this. I think I'm just going to skip this and go to the next slide. So I actually chair the group that sets this clock. And right now we're at 90 seconds to midnight. There are lots of reasons for this. This is the closest we have ever been to midnight. I'm very happy to talk about this, but I think I'm just, in the interest of time, I'm going to go to the next slide, which is, this is all context for this other thing I'd like to talk about, which is how do we kind of study and teach existential risk. And one of the things that's a little odd about this topic is that there's very little formal academic community focused on these topics. They're individual topics, there's lots of work, but kind of the full panoply of existential risk and how they interact is not something that I think gets sufficient attention. There's really one major institution that does it, which is right here in Cambridge, which is the Center for the Study of Existential Risk, which was founded by Martin Rees, who's actually attending SciFru. He's not in the room right now, but he is? Great. Okay, so you should talk to him about this. You should also talk to him about black holes. He's one of the world's expert on black holes as well. You have lots of people to talk to about black holes, which is great, very important. There are lots of things that can be done in this community, lots of different activities. I'm going to focus on one, which is next slide, or why don't we do one more? Which is teaching about existential risk. And so this is a class I've been teaching to undergraduates that covers, it's kind of an overview class called Are We Doomed? About all the existential risks and how to think about them. Next slide. So what we do is we kind of every week we focus on one different topic. Next slide, why don't we just go 2 more slides? And so, misinformation, climate, nuclear, next slide. pandemics. We kind of go through everything. Martin kindly actually participated in our final lecture. So next slide. Let's go a couple more. We have guest lecturers. It's been an incredible set of people. So the students, we kind of interact with the lecturers. We read their material, and then we kind of do a deep dive for a week where we just kind of obsess over one of these topics. Next slide. Let's go to the next one. This is an example of 1 week. Here's the readings that we had. Then we also have films and books you can read, and the students kind of give presentations and interact both with the lecturer and in small groups, and we just kind of try to get students into this. Next slide. They do final projects. Let's just skip through all of these. So yeah, like this is Goodnight Moon is extremely cool. And so these projects are all online if you're interested. But some students, if you have kids, you might have read Goodnight Moon, which is a kid's book. And they readapted it for Doom. And it's, I think, extremely effective. And it's just the students all pick a way to kind of engage. Let's just go through these. We also have a summer research fellowship. These are students doing the fellowship. We can just go through all of these until the last slide. I can tell you a lot more about that. Right now we have 20 students from all over at UChicago doing research on existential risk. We pair them with faculty members, and it's really been thrilling to kind of see what they come up with. The main message, kind of similar to Jack's message, is this can sound pretty dismal, but the main message here is actually this. We have the technology, we have the ingenuity to kind of address these problems. The real issue is just kind of getting engaged, and so helping these students kind of get there has been extremely satisfying and hopeful. Okay, in there.